Hello, heroes and Zargons. My name is Matt, or Blackbird if you prefer, and this is the Trials and Tribulations of Zargon, a series which details the many ways in which the Emperor's heroes foil Zargon and his minions in their plots to conquer the Empire. In it, we'll review the published quests and any house rules or modifications we're using to make the game more interesting and challenging. In this episode, I'll be discussing and ranking the 10 cards in our Dwarf Leveling deck. It's been a while since I've made a video ranking an aspect of the game, and Dave's been on me to rank everything. Rank the furniture, rank the card art, rank your ranking videos. No, I'm not joking. But today, we'll be ranking another of our homebrewed hero leveling decks. This time, we've got the Dwarf Levels. I'll review each of the 10 cards in the deck and rank each one based on how useful I believe they will be in helping my dwarf to defeat Zargon. If you're not sure how our leveling system works, you can check out our House Rules 2 Level Advancement video for an in-depth discussion. In the meantime, I'll follow Dave's lead from his recent video about the dwarf levels to which I'm responding, and let past Dave give a quick explanation.
Here's how it works. Each class has a deck of 10 improvement cards. When a hero completes 3 quests, and again every 3 quests thereafter, the hero can seek training. Training costs 500 gold coins per level, and each subsequent level costs an additional 100 gold coins. So, for example, a hero with no levels must complete 3 quests and then pay 500 gold coins to draw from the leveling deck. If a hero has already drawn from that deck once, they must complete an additional 3 quests before they draw again.
As always, I'll be using a generic tiered ranking system I got from tiermaker.com, with F being the lowest rank and S being the highest. And as always, I'll begin by saying that all 10 of the possible level cards for the dwarf to draw are useful. I don't rank any of them at level F or E. The lowest ranked level for the dwarf to draw, at rank D, is a mind point. The dwarf doesn't need another mind point. Mind points are useless in the original game, almost useless in the expansions, and only marginally useful in conjunction with some of the other levels in this deck, allowing the dwarf to use a skill a number of times equal to his mind points in each dungeon. Since not all of the dwarf's levels are dependent on mind points, and especially considering that the skills that aren't are some of the strongest skills for the dwarf, the base 3 mind points that the dwarf starts with are more than likely going to be enough for most dungeons. As for raw stat increases, after the extra mind point, the dwarf also has 2 extra body point levels. Extra body points are nice, but you need a bunch of them to make a big difference. The first body point I put in rank C. This brings the dwarf up to 8 body points, making him equal to the barbarian. The second body point, bringing the dwarf to a total of 9, I put in rank B. I also put the barbarian's first extra body point level in rank B, since that raises his total to 9 as well, and I wanted to be consistent with the usefulness of stat increases for the 2 melee fighting characters. One more level goes into rank C before we move up anymore, and that is Diligence. This lets the dwarf take 2 actions per turn, but they must be different actions. If you were going to let the dwarf attack twice per turn, it'd be a different story. But since this is really only designed to let the dwarf search for traps and doors and attack on the same turn, and since it's dependent on the number of mind points the dwarf has, it has limited use. Pairing Diligence with Keen Eyes, which I'll get to in a bit, makes it slightly more useful, but you can get along just fine without it. 2 skills go into rank B along with that second body point. The first is Turtle. Now, to start, if anyone out there wants to drop a comment checking David's math on this, please do. I'm going to assume for now that it's accurate, but I'm a music teacher and he's an English professor, so. Even still, Turtle adds a small amount of defensive advantage a limited number of times per dungeon, and gives Zargon the knowledge that it's being used, and therefore the option to just attack a different hero that turn. The other skill that goes into rank B is Spell Resistance. This skill served me very well in our expanded Area of the Stormmaster dungeon, because the elemental effects that assaulted my heroes every turn were magical in nature, and so the dwarf was able to negate a few of them. In published quests, however, there simply aren't enough enemy spells that are going to be cast on the dwarf to warrant ranking this any higher. Starting rank A, we'll go with Advance. This lets you push monsters around when you attack them. Rearranging monsters' positioning, moving them away from your heroes, and opening up new paths of movement for the heroes can be very useful. What makes this skill so good is that monster defense is irrelevant to the push, so it's almost like giving the dwarf two actions on a turn, one action to attack the monster, and a second action to attempt to push the monster backward. Also, we've house ruled that when a character is pushed backwards into another character, they both take damage. Bear a Grudge also goes into rank A. I ranked the Barbarian level, granting one permanent extra attack die at rank S. This level gives the Dwarf two extra attack dice, but since it has both a mind point restriction and a target restriction, I don't think it's quite up to S rank, but A rank for sure. Keen Eyes I put in rank S. Spotting and disarming traps through doorways, which you otherwise would have had no choice but to stumble into, and spotting traps while there are monsters present, and the hero's movements are going to be less cautious than usual, are huge advantages, and will save your heroes from taking a lot of damage. Now, I must digress for a bit to explain my thinking before I place the final dwarf level. I was wrong about something. It does happen from time to time. I'm sure I've been, or will be, wrong about several things in these videos, and maybe when I compile a long enough list, I'll make a video about all the things I messed up. Maybe I'll even rank my blunders. But I didn't want to wait for that to explain my mistake with the dwarf levels. After playing a while with David as Zargon and me controlling the heroes, we switched roles. We now continue to switch up every once in a while whenever we feel like it, with our respective heroes tackling different quest packs. We're essentially running two campaigns concurrently. So, when we decided to switch for the first time, I needed to come up with a leveling system for Dave's heroes. Rather than invent all new levels, I just took the ones he had already created to keep our heroes' experiences as similar as possible. But I did change up the mechanic of earning levels. Instead of randomly drawing levels which increase in cost, and waiting 3 quests in between each draw, I eliminated the 3-quest waiting period, and I gave each level a set price based on my rankings. This way, David could just purchase the levels he wanted without the randomness aspect. My pricing system is as follows. Each S rank level costs 1,200 gold, each A rank level costs 1,000 gold, each B rank level costs 800 gold, and so on, C rank costing 600 gold each, and D rank costing 400 gold. I also offered a discount of 50 gold pieces for each level of a lower tier that a hero has already purchased. So, for example, if a hero buys an A rank level for 1,000 gold, then the cost of the S rank would go down to 1150. If the hero buys a D rank level for 400, then every level above that gets a 50 gold discount. You could get a 400 to 500 gold piece discount on S rank levels if you buy all of the lower levels first. But even if you start buying at S rank and work your way down, not taking advantage of any discounts, the total cost for all 10 levels comes out to slightly less than the 9,500 gold it would cost under David's system. So maybe I should have priced them a little higher. Anyway, my dwarf had just earned the only level that I've left off the ranking list, I for treasure, when we decided to switch roles, so I didn't have an opportunity to use it when I made my leveling system. It seemed like a neat gimmick, but I put it in rank A, thinking that it wasn't going to be game-breaking. David immediately questioned this, but we went with it, and he purchased it for his dwarf as soon as he was able. He was right. It has a much bigger, positive impact for the heroes than I anticipated, and it certainly should be in rank S. But since we're currently still playing our campaigns where I ranked it as A, that's where it's going for now. And that finishes up the dwarf level rankings. Please do the thing with the liking, subscribing, comments, notification bell, and all that jazz. Give me some more ammo for that future ranking Matt's screw-ups video. And as always, let's plot together in the comments below.